Hi, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith. We're going to be continuing the playthrough in just a moment, but we had a couple questions come up in the YouTube comments, and they've come up more than once, so it makes me think I should clarify these rules or at very least repeat them. One of them's about when we roll cheese on these dice. Now, if you're a hero and you roll a cheese, you get to add cheese token to your card. If you're a minion and you roll a cheese, you add it to the minion cheese wheel. But that's only during attack and defense rolls, not during rolls for movement or searches or any other kind of roll, only for attack and defense. The other question came with Colin's special ability called Born to Lead. This means that if he's not the first position on the initiative track, then he gets to collect a cheese token. But that's not every round where he's not in first place. It's only the first time that the initiative track is established. If he's not in first place, that's when he collects it. So in other words, when we go to a new tile, we're going to collect up the cards, shuffle them up, lay them out again. So at that point, if he's not in first place, he gets to add another cheese token. Now another question we had was about the dice, and what are the probabilities on these dice? Well, I just wanted to go over it very quickly. One side is the cheese side. There are two sides for ranged attack, so less than 50-50 odds to hit with a ranged attack. There are three sides, so 50-50 chance, for attacking with a melee weapon. And then there are two sides that have a shield, so it's a little harder to block. And then there are three sides that have a star. So you have a 50-50 chance when you're trying to do a search or when you're trying to exit a water space. And then lastly, I wanted to address searching. Just to be clear, each mouse can only search once per tile that they're on. Well, successfully search. So when you've searched with Meganos and he's found something, then he can no longer search again on that tile. So to help me remember that, I've decided to get out these little white beads, and I'm going to put them on the Hero Mouse's card when they've done a successful search on a tile. And I just want to thank everyone for continuing to submit player moves for both Meganos and for Colin. It's a lot of fun for Luke and I because just like a real game, we don't know what you guys are going to do. Even though we may have our own suggestions about what we think you should do, we would never dream of telling you what we think you should do. So let's get Luke down here and we'll find out if you did what maybe we would have suggested.
Smith and I'm ready to go.
All right, Luke's here, you guys are here, and our player move for Colin that got the most votes was by Sponge Trap. And he wants us to use Colin to attack the roach that's on the same space as him. So we'll get you guys down to the table and we'll see what happens.
So I'm rolling 3 dice for Colin's attack.
Ooh.
1 damage, 2 cheese.
Not a mighty attack, but who can blame Colin? He is fighting from the water, but those 2 cheese bring him up to a total of 5 cheese. Once you get 6, you can trade them all in and give yourself a new ability, and that's called leveling up. But this fight isn't over. The roach gets to defend itself. I'm going to roll 1 die for the roach's defense.
Yes!
It does not block, so that roach is going to be removed from the tile. And now Sponge Trap wants to have Colin move 1 space. He can only move 1 space because he's in water, to this position right here. And now because he's ending his turn in water, the current is going to push him 1 more space in this direction. Almost off the board, which means he'll become captured. And Sponge Trap's thinking here is to try to get away from this roach so that maybe the roach won't be able to get to him and attack this turn, and also be close enough to his friends that maybe he can get saved with that fishhook and thread if it's repositioned. And next we have a playmaker move from Ryan Gwenther, who wants us to save Colin. Not quite. Sort of. Indirectly. He wants to attack this remaining roach. Maybe give Meganos some cheese tokens. So we'll bring you back to the table. We'll see if we can get that done.
And Magnus gets to roll 2 dice, 1 for his battle value and 1 for his staff.
And I'm going to roll them this time. Let's see what we get. Okay, we got a miss.
But cheese.
We did get a cheese, and remember, he has the special draw power. So when attacking, he receives 2 cheese for each cheese that he rolls. And although this is a sword, because it was a ranged attack, we were really looking for one of these bow and arrows. And this brings up another good rules clarification that I was asked about a couple of times. If you roll no potential hits, like we did here, I like to think of it as you swung and completely missed, or you just didn't attack at all because you were so caught up in the battle or the things going on around you, and that meant your opponent didn't have to do any kind of defense. Now, technically, we're supposed to roll for Meganos' movement at the beginning of his turn, but we'll do that now. So Luke, go ahead and roll his movement. That's 2. We add that to his movement of 2, and he gets a total of 4. Which is perfect because Ryan wants to move to this spot right here. So we'll do that with Meganos. He's now beside Colin. But now it's Tilda's turn. And I really, if it's not already obvious, want to try to save Colin. Yeah. So for my first action, I am going to use it to pick up the fish hook and thread. And I'm going to roll for my movement. I got 2. And I'm going to move right over here as well. I think I'll move right to there. And then I'm going to drop the fish hook and thread. That doesn't cost an action. It's not even a free action. You can just get to drop it. And I'm going to place it right here between my tile and the water tile that Colin is on. So on his turn, he'll be able to move out of the water and he won't have to roll any dice to see if he succeeds.
Up next is Nez's turn. So I'm just going to roll for movement and 1.
A 1. With
Plus
your movement
1.
of 1, gives you 2. Where would you like to go?
Right here next to Tilda.
And then what do you want to do next?
Search.
All right, so we'll give you a die to search with. You're going to need a star if it's going to be a successful search.
Rats.
The cheese. So that means the search isn't successful, and that means that Nez can search again on this tile on a future turn. So we haven't quite rescued Colin, but all of the mice have rallied around him. Now it's that roach's turn. So I'm going to roll for the roach's movement. Let's see what he gets. A 3.
Ooh.
So that 3 movement means the roach is going to be able to move onto the same space as Colin. And you know what that means. He's going to attack Colin. So who should roll, Luke? You or me?
You.
All right, here we go. 2 dice. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is bad. This is bad because not only is this a potential hit, but we rolled a cheese during an attack, and that means we have to add another cheese to the minion cheese wheel. And as you can see, when we add this cheese token, the cheese wheel is full. So we've triggered a surge. Now on a surge, you move the hourglass marker 1 page closer to the chapter end marker. And then you look at the chapter instructions for that tile, and if there's special surge rules, you follow them. In this case, there isn't, so instead we look at the encounter card, and you can see the surge effect is that we have to add a spider to the tile. Oh dear. And then we discard this encounter card and remove all of the cheese from the minion cheese wheel so it's empty, and we'll start over again, filling it up. Now before we place that spider, let's just resolve this attack with the roach. So Colin's going to get to roll 2 defense. I think I'm going to let Luke roll this one. Yeah. Go ahead. You roll the defense, Luke. Oh, yes! I knew that was a good choice. So we have blocked that attack, and that means that there won't be any additional damage going on to Colin. So that's the good news. The bad news is we still have to add that spider to the tile. Now the spider, as you can see, is a large base minion. There's special rules for those. You have to place them on the entry space closest to the mice. And if there's multiple options available, well then the players get to choose. But in this case, this entry space here is closest to the mice. It's 2 spaces away from Colin.
What about the space where Magnus is?
Good question. There is a space that's even closer to the mice. But remember, you can only fit so many models on each space. And a large minion takes up the entire space. So we have Meganos. Thankfully, Ryan moved Meganos here, and that means the spider wouldn't fit on this space. So this makes this the next closest one. And we have to add the initiative card for the spider to the initiative track. Now, when you have minions already on the board, then any new ones that get added go right to the bottom. Let's take a look at this card, though, very quickly. You can see it has a 2 attack, a 3 defense, 3 health, and it has the poison ability. This is terrible. All wounds inflicted by a spider are considered poison wounds. Another quick rules thing I want to remind you about. When you're on a space with minions and you try to leave that space, you have to see if there's as many of your own hero mice in that space as there are enemies. Otherwise, you won't be able to move. But in this case, there's 1 Colin and 1 minion. So Colin can leave that space if the players choose to have him leave that space. Well, I don't even know what to think about that round.
Good, bad, both.
Both, and I think mostly bad.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about rolling that cheese, guys. That kind of messed us up a little bit. That spider is going to be a nasty problem to deal with. Well, listen, the initiative order hasn't changed at all. So that means Colin's still going first, then Meganos. So if you have a good suggestion for Colin, please put it in the YouTube comments below. If you like someone's suggestion, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like it, provide your own suggestion. Maybe someone else will vote for it. Anyway, as usual, we really appreciate you guys watching our show and playing along with us. Until the next episode, thanks for watching. YouTube channel. But we would never... So it's going to be very interesting in this episode.